Today, we're going to talk about a very useful topic, jobs and the workplace. In this lesson, you'll learn how to talk about your job, where you work, what you do every day, your coworkers, your boss, your responsibilities, and how you feel about your work. You'll also learn some useful workplace vocabulary and simple sentences that you can use in real conversations. So let's get started. Talking about your job. Let's begin with one of the most common questions people ask when they meet someone. What do you do? When someone asks, what do you do? They usually mean, what is your job? You can answer with, I'm a teacher, or I'm a graphic designer, or I'm a doctor, I'm a chef, I'm an engineer, I'm a student. You can also say, I work as a teacher, or I work as a graphic designer. These are very natural ways to talk about your job. For example, hi, I'm Jacob. Nice to meet you. What do you do? I'm an English teacher. I help people improve their English. Very simple. Now let's talk about another useful question. Where do you work? You can answer, I work at a school. I work in a hospital. I work at a bank. I work in an office. Or I work from home. Where do you work is asking about the place where you do your job. Talking about what you do at work. Now let's imagine someone asks, what do you do at work? You can describe your daily responsibilities. For example, if you're a teacher, you can say, I teach English. I prepare lessons. I help students learn new words. I check homework. If you're a graphic designer, you can say, I create designs. I make logos. I design websites. I talk to clients. If you're an office worker, you might say, I answer emails. I attend meetings. I work on projects. I talk to customers. So when you're talking about your job, you can explain 3 simple things. What is your job? Where do you work? What do you do? For example, I'm a teacher. I work at a small language school. I teach English to children. That's a great answer. My typical workday. Now let's talk about a typical day. The phrase typical day means a normal day. Someone might ask, what is your typical workday like? You can explain your daily routine. For example, I start work at 9 in the morning. First, I check my emails. Then, I look at my schedule. After that, I work on my projects. I usually have a meeting in the afternoon. I finish work at 6. These sentences are very useful. You can also talk about your morning routine. For example, I wake up at 7. I have breakfast. I take a shower. I get dressed. I go to work. Or I work from home, so I don't have to travel to the office. That's another useful sentence. Working from home. These days, many people work from home, so let's practice some useful expressions. You can say, I work from home. I work remotely. I have a home office. I usually have online meetings. I talk to my coworkers by video call. Working from home can be comfortable. You don't have to travel to work, and you can save time. But there can also be some disadvantages. For example, sometimes I feel lonely. It's difficult to separate work and home. I spend a lot of time looking at my computer. Sometimes I work longer hours. So if someone asks, do you work from home? You can answer, yes, I do. I work from home every day. Or, no, I work in an office. Talking about your workplace. Now let's talk about the word workplace. Your workplace is the place where you work. It could be an office, a school, a hospital, a restaurant, a shop, a factory, or your home. You can describe your workplace with simple sentences. For example, my workplace is small and friendly. My office is very modern. My workplace is close to my house. There are about 20 people in my office. You can also talk about what's inside your workplace. For example, my office has many desks. There is a large meeting room. We have a small kitchen. There are computers everywhere. If you work at a school, you might say, my classroom has a large whiteboard. There are many books. There is a world map on the wall. That's talking about coworkers. Now let's learn an important workplace word, coworker. A coworker is someone who works with you. For example, I have 5 coworkers. My coworkers are very friendly. I have a good relationship with my coworkers. You can also use the word colleague. Colleague has a similar meaning. For example, my colleagues are very helpful. You can talk about your coworkers' personalities. Maybe your coworker is friendly, funny, helpful, quiet, serious, creative, or hardworking. For example, my coworker Sarah is very friendly. My colleague Ben is very funny. My coworkers are helpful and supportive. These are great sentences for everyday English. Talking about your boss. Now let's talk about your boss. Your boss is the person who manages you or your team. You can say, my boss is very friendly. My boss is strict but fair. My boss is very helpful. My boss gives me good advice. You can also use the word manager. For example, my manager organizes our team. My manager gives us new projects. I have a meeting with my manager every Monday. Of course, every workplace is different. Some people have a great relationship with their boss. Others may find their boss difficult. You can describe your experience politely. For example, my boss is very demanding, or my manager expects us to work hard. Talking about meetings. Meetings are very common in many workplaces. You can say, we have a team meeting every Monday. I have a meeting at 10 o'clock. The meeting lasts about 1 hour. We talk about our projects. We discuss our plans for the week. Some meetings are short. Some meetings are very long. You can say, the meeting was very useful, or the meeting was too long. You can also say, I have an online meeting. I joined the meeting by video call. These phrases are especially useful if you work remotely. Talking about your responsibilities. Now let's learn the word responsibility. A responsibility is something that you have to do as part of your job. For example, a teacher's responsibilities might include teaching students, preparing lessons, checking homework, and helping students. A graphic designer might have responsibilities such as creating designs, talking to clients, finishing projects, and making changes to designs. You can say, one of my responsibilities is preparing reports. My main responsibility is helping customers. I have many responsibilities at work. This is a very useful word when talking about your job. Talking about your skills. Another important word is skill. A skill is something you can do well because you learned or practiced it. For example, communication is an important skill. Computer skills are important for my job. Speaking English is a useful skill. Cooking is a skill. Teaching is a skill. Different jobs require different skills. A teacher needs to be patient and organized. A graphic designer needs to be creative. A doctor needs strong communication and problem-solving skills. A chef needs cooking skills. You can say, I'm good at communicating with people. I'm good at using computers. I have strong organizational skills. I'm good at solving problems. These sentences are especially useful when talking about your professional abilities. Do you like your job? Now let's talk about feelings. Someone might ask, do you like your job? You can answer, yes, I love my job. Yes, I really enjoy my work. It's interesting and rewarding. Or maybe, it's okay. It can be stressful sometimes. It's difficult, but I enjoy it. The word rewarding is very useful. If something is rewarding, it makes you feel happy and satisfied because you feel your work is important. For example, teaching is very rewarding. A teacher may feel happy when a student finally understands something. A designer may feel happy when a client loves their design. You can also say, my job is challenging but rewarding. That means the job is difficult, but you feel good about doing it. The best part of your job. Let's practice another common question. What's the best part of your job? You can answer, the best part is working with people. The best part is helping my customers. The best part is being creative. The best part is learning new things. The best part is working with my team. For example, I'm a teacher. The best part of my job is seeing my students improve. That's a very natural answer. The most difficult part. You can also talk about the difficult parts of your job. Someone might ask, what's the most difficult part of your job? You could say, the most difficult part is working long hours. The most difficult part is dealing with difficult customers. The most difficult part is meeting deadlines. The most difficult part is dealing with stress. You can also say, sometimes my job is stressful. Sometimes I feel tired after work. Sometimes I have too much work to do. These are very natural expressions. Talking about projects. Let's talk about another important workplace word, project. A project is a specific piece of work that usually has a beginning and an end. For example, I'm working on a new project. We have 3 projects this month. My project is almost finished. I need to finish this project by Friday. If you're a designer, a project might be creating a logo. If you're a teacher, a project might be preparing a new course. If you're an engineer, it could be building something new. You can ask a coworker, what are you working on? And they might answer, I'm working on a new website, or I'm working on a project for a new client. Talking about clients. Now let's learn the word client. A client is a person or company that pays you for professional work or a service. For example, a graphic designer has clients. A lawyer has clients. An accountant has clients. A photographer can have clients. You can say, I have an important client. I'm meeting with a client tomorrow. My client wants some changes. The client really likes the design. A client is similar to a customer, but we often use client for professional services. Talking about your work schedule. Let's talk about working hours. You can say, I start work at 8 a.m. I finish work at 5 p.m. I work from Monday to Friday. I work 8 hours a day. I work part-time. I work full-time. You can also talk about your lunch break. For example, I have lunch at 1 o'clock. I have a 1-hour lunch break. I usually eat lunch at my desk. Or I go to a restaurant with my coworkers. Talking about your commute. Another useful workplace topic is your commute. Your commute is the journey between your home and your workplace. You can say, I walk to work. I drive to work. I take the bus. I take the train. My commute takes about 30 minutes. For example, I take the bus to work and my commute takes about 40 minutes. Or I work from home, so I don't have a commute. That's very useful vocabulary. Hat, a short workplace conversation. Now let's practice a short conversation. Imagine you meet someone for the first time. They ask, hi, nice to meet you. What do you do? You can answer, nice to meet you too. I'm a teacher. They ask, where do you work? You say, I work at a small language school. They ask, do you enjoy your job? You say, yes, I do. It's challenging, but very rewarding. They ask, what's the best part? You say, the best part is helping my students improve their English. That's a simple and natural workplace conversation. Mini vocabulary review. Now let's review some of the most important words from today's lesson. Hackshaw 1, workplace. Your workplace is the place where you work. My workplace is near my house. 2, coworker. A coworker is someone who works with you. My coworkers are very friendly. 3, client. A client is someone who pays you for professional work or a service. I have a meeting with a client tomorrow. 4, responsibility. A responsibility is something you have to do as part of your job. Teaching students is one of my responsibilities. 5, skill. A skill is something you can do well because you learned and practiced it. Communication is an important skill. 6, project. A project is a specific piece of work with a beginning and an end. I'm working on a new project. 7, routine. A routine is the normal way you do things regularly. My morning routine starts at 7 a.m. 8, rewarding. Rewarding means something makes you feel happy and satisfied. Teaching is very rewarding. These 8 words are very useful when talking about your job. You don't need to memorize everything today. Choose 2 or 3 words and try to use them this week. How to talk about your job. Now let's put everything together. If someone asks you, what do you do? You can give a longer answer. For example, I'm a teacher. I work at a small language school near my house. I teach English to children. I usually start work at 8:30 and finish at 3:30. My responsibilities include preparing lessons, teaching students, and checking homework. I really enjoy my job because it's rewarding. The best part is seeing my students learn and improve. That's an excellent answer. Here's another example. I'm a graphic designer. I work from home. I create logos, websites, and posters for different clients. I usually start work at 9 and finish at 6. My job can be stressful sometimes, but I really enjoy being creative. The best part of my job is turning ideas into designs. See how many useful expressions you can use? You can talk about your job, your workplace, your schedule, your responsibilities, your skills, your coworkers, your clients, and your feelings about your work. Hat practice time. Now it's your turn. I'm going to give you some questions. Take a moment and answer each one in English. Question 1. What do you do? Maybe you can say, I'm a teacher, or I'm a student, or I work in an office. Now question 2. Where do you work? You can say, I work at a school, I work in a hospital, I work from home. Question 3. What time do you start work? For example, I start work at 9 a.m. Question 4. What do you do at work? Maybe I answer emails and attend meetings. Question 5. Do you like your job? You can say, yes, I really enjoy my job. Or, it's difficult but rewarding. And the final question, what is the best part of your job? Take your time and answer in a complete sentence. Remember, you don't need perfect English. The important thing is to practice. Final review. Let's quickly review today's lesson. We learned how to ask, "What do you do?" We learned how to answer, "I'm a teacher." We learned, "Where do you work?" And "I work from home." We talked about coworkers and bosses. We learned how to describe our daily routine. We talked about responsibilities, skills, projects, clients, and meetings. We also learned how to talk about the good and difficult parts of a job. Remember these useful expressions. I work as a, I work at, I work from home, I start work at, I finish work at, my main responsibility is, I'm working on a project, I have a meeting with a client, my coworkers are, the best part of my job is, and my job is challenging but rewarding. These simple sentences can help you talk about your job confidently. Question of the day. And now it's time for our question of the day. Today's question is, what is your job or what is your dream job? If you have a job now, tell us about it. For example, I'm a teacher. I work at a school. I really enjoy my job. If you don't have a job yet, tell us about your dream job. For example, my dream job is to be a pilot. Or I want to be a doctor. Or I want to be a graphic designer because I love art. Write your answer in the comments below. Don't worry about making mistakes. Making mistakes is a normal and important part of learning English. The more you practice, the more confident you will become. And if you have a friend who is also learning English, share this lesson with them. You can practice together. Thank you so much for spending time with me today here on Jacob English Academy. I hope this lesson helped you feel more confident talking about your job and workplace in English. Remember, you don't need to learn everything in one day. Choose a few sentences, practice them out loud, and try to use them in a real conversation. Even 5 minutes of English practice every day can make a difference. Keep learning, keep practicing, and most importantly, don't be afraid of making mistakes. I'll see you in the next lesson. Have a great day and keep practicing your English. Goodbye for now.